Hey everybody, this is the first video I've made in months, but there's been a lot of changes, so I wanted to make a quick update video. It might not be as quick as I think it is going to be, but we'll see. So obviously the biggest change right now is that I moved, finally. I've been living in Nashville for the last 2 years and really found it to not be a very positive, affirming, good space for me. And so I have left. Some of you may know from my previous channel that I got into a PhD program. So I am now officially a PhD student at Loyola University in Chicago in higher education. And this has been the first week of classes, so I've been in 2 out of my 3 classes so far. And also had my first official research team meeting. I'm doing a research assistantship with Dr. Mark Engberg, and going to be part of a couple of really exciting projects, which I can share in a little bit. But yeah, so I have moved up to Chicago. Can't say I'm looking forward to being back up north during the winter time, but for right now, I will take the winter time over living in Nashville any day. A little bit about why Nashville did not really work for me. Nashville was a very hard city to get used to. It's not the kind of community that really opens up very easily, particularly within a queer sense. There isn't much of a queer scene there. I guess some folks were starting to kind of create one over the last few months by doing this monthly queer dance party. But it's still pretty cliquey and very difficult to kind of meet people within it if you don't already go into those spaces with friends, which I did. I had a couple of friends that I enjoyed actually hanging out with, but outside of that group, there wasn't much there. Within a trans context, I didn't really find friends and people that I really wanted to connect with. There may be a couple of folks, but not a very strong, lasting connection, relationship. I definitely cherish that having met them and knowing them for a while, but not the types of connections and relationships that would really sustain me living in that space for very long. And finally, my work environment was not very conducive to my well-being. I worked at Vanderbilt University, and I did not come to find it the kind of place that really nurtures young professionals and helps, particularly young professionals of color, to be honest, and nurtures them to become higher-ups in the institution in the future, or creates environments for them to really succeed in. So I knew again that was not going to be a long-term sort of space for me to be in. I enjoyed working with the students that I did, and I very much miss the Lambda Association, which was one of the organizations that I advised and supported, as well as the newly forming TGQ group, the transgender queer group that was just starting out. So I miss the students that I got to build some really good relationships with, and I'll always take that with me. But beyond that, it was not a kind of a sustainable space. And I was ready to be in academia again. One of the things I really have missed is being part of intellectual conversations and being challenged mentally and intellectually, being pushed to think beyond my little confines, and definitely started feeling like I was regressing intellectually and in these academic sort of spaces. So I was feeling like I was becoming more and more compliant. So I was ready to get back to some place where I would get challenged, and judging by my 2 classes so far and the meetings with with the faculty member of my research team. It's going to be a challenging space, so I'm excited. I'm taking 3 courses this semester: qualitative research, women in higher education, and leadership in higher education. And I'm super excited about all of them. Funnily enough, in women in higher education, I'm actually in class with one of my former RAs. I was supervising this student when he was an undergrad at the University of Vermont, and now he's a master's student here. So we're in this class together, and it's kind of cool to connect with him in that class, and to be kind of outside of the professional realm now and have a more personal connection with each other. He's someone that I've always felt really good about being around, and have learned a lot from him about really, really positive expressions of masculinity. So I'm excited to be in that kind of gendered space of a classroom with him. Let's see. So the research team, the 2 projects that I'm going to get a chance to work with, pretty exciting. One of them is connected to a program at Loyola called TNT, Targeting New Transitions. And this program is pretty unique in the field. We don't know that many other programs like it, but basically what Targeting New Transitions does is works with 2 high schools in the area that are predominantly super marginalized, impoverished students. I believe one of the schools has a 97% rate of students that live below the poverty line. And the program takes Loyola undergraduate students who are interested in being mentors and tutors in particular, more so than mentors, and helps them go through this extensive training in order to be successful tutors for these students. I'll get a chance to actually see the training that they go through in a couple of weekends. I've heard it's pretty intense and comprehensive, so looking forward to kind of checking that out and seeing that. And then they are signed up for the year to go every Saturday for, I think, like 4 to 5 hours, and tutor these kids and help them potentially get to college and potentially have opportunities and access to higher education, particularly coming from a school that they might not have had those opportunities. So our project in particular, though, is actually going to be looking at the undergraduate students themselves, the ones that are the tutors, and seeing how this experience actually transforms them, how it impacts how they see themselves and in relation to the students that they're tutoring, how it changes their worldview, their conceptions of social justice, and all these other things. So it's going to be pretty cool. The other project is associated with this thing called the Global Perspectives Inventory, which is a study that gets done at lots of institutions that Dr. Engberg kind of carries, and it looks at study abroad and service learning, so any kind of study away programs at institutions, and measures quantitatively how it impacts cognitive intrapersonal and interpersonal indicators. So how much it increases their intercultural awareness, how much it changes whether they wish to make a difference in the world, and how it changes how they see themselves and their own identities, and all this stuff. And again, around privilege and social justice and all this stuff. So again, pretty cool. So I'll be working with a couple projects associated with that. So it's definitely a little overwhelming. I've definitely had quite a few moments since being here and since starting this up where I feel like I kind of tricked the faculty into accepting me, and feel a little over my head, kind of hoping that I don't crash and burn. But I'm going to try to take it at faith that the faculty know what they're doing and I'm where I'm supposed to be. There's lots of indicators and signs that I am where I'm supposed to be, which actually includes a religious aspect. Loyola is a Jesuit institution, and for the first time on Sunday, I went to my very first Jesuit Mass. Something that most people actually don't know about me is that I'm Catholic. I was baptized Catholic in Lebanon, where my sister and I were born. But when we moved to Cyprus when I was 3 years old, there aren't any Armenian Catholic churches there, so we didn't go to one. We went to an Armenian Apostolic church, and my mom's Apostolic, my dad's Catholic. So we grew up in an Apostolic church environment. So I've never been to a Catholic church before, let alone a Jesuit one. But I went to this Mass, and I felt good there. I'm not really sure how to really articulate that feeling of good other than just using that really generic, vague word. But I felt connected. So I'm hoping to kind of maintain a weekly presence and go this Sunday too, and see if this is what I've been looking for, spiritually, religiously. But it is definitely one of the reasons why I feel like Loyola was the right choice for me. Let's see what else. Been meeting a lot of people, lots of students here at Loyola, both undergraduate and graduate, getting involved with the International Club, and as well as will be getting involved with the Men of Color Initiative, which pairs first-year undergraduate students with staff, faculty, and graduate students. So we've been approached as a cohort, and been told that we'll be paired up with 7 to 8 undergraduate students to mentor them through their first year. Which I've never done a mentorship program, like an official, formal mentorship program. So this is pretty cool and exciting too. And I think for one of our classes, we'll actually get to study it a little bit, at least for the first semester. It's a brand new program. It's the first time they've had it at Loyola, so it'll be cool to be part of kind of the first group pulling this together. The other cool dynamic is that my entire cohort is actually men of color. All 5 of us who are in the PhD program starting this semester are men of color. Different races and ethnicities, coming from all kinds of different places, and different ways that we conceptualize our various identities, and also a pretty queer cohort too. A number of us identify as queer in one way or another. So one of the things we're going to be doing is actually blogging and writing about this really unique dynamic in our interactions and our experiences through at least this first year, maybe not all the way through the time we get our PhDs. So I'll be sure to share more details once that blog is up, and folks can follow along there too. Well, I think I'm gonna finish up this update with not much else, I guess. I've been ranting already. I'm sure I'll jump on here again and share some more, but just kind of wanted to update where I am and what I've been doing. And I'm going to be hitting the books in a little bit because I have a ton of reading to do, and some writing to get started also. If you're in Chicago, and this is a request, I guess, to particularly trans and genderqueer folks here in Chicago, definitely looking for some community and friendship. So hit me up, let me know. I've found some resources and some groups and stuff, and I can't make it to a lot of them. So maybe some one-on-one connections and would be great. Thanks, folks.